Gabba Gabba, hey, Drunken Cox fans. This is Hickory, the Drunken Underwhelming from the Drunken Under Quarantine Show. And we're here to announce that you have found and stumbled upon our show. We're very happy to have you. If you found this on podcast platforms, you will be sorely disappointed in the magic entertainment. However, the video will be uploaded to YouTube and Facebook. Remember, this show is an adult show, contains adult content. Have fun, stay safe, stay drunk, stay underwhelming. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm, of course, Hickory, the Drunken Underwhelming. We're back on episode 18 of the Drunken Under Quarantine Show Season 2, which means we've been going like 70 weeks or something like that. That's awesome. We got a lot to get into. We're here with G-Dubs. Collen will be here in a minute. Let's get it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's the Drunken Under Quarantine Show Season 2, Episode 18, brought to you by the Woolen Comedy Club. I'm here live with GW, Foley, and Collen Doyle. It's just a solstice episode because it's been a long move, and we'll start booking again for next week. But without further ado, we got a lot to get into tonight. There's some stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about a sexy cop that looks just like The Rock. We're going to talk about Chicago facing a mass vaccine mandate crisis with their staffing. Talk about a puma found in a New York City apartment and the premise that it might be Matt Vita's. We're going to talk about a World War II tank found in a man's basement, because that's awesome. And finally, a man in London. What the hell was he doing? Well, he should have been watching the Drunken Under Quarantine Show last week on Wednesday. We'll find out. But without further ado, welcoming to our spotlight stage, please help me welcome my friend, my comrade, Mr. G.W. Foley.
Hey! What is up, motherfuckers? It is Wednesday night. I didn't get my fucking notice on my phone yet. God damn it. But we're live. Fucking live. This is awesome. Back to rum and coke. No fancy drinks for me tonight. No, I'm trying to be responsible, and I have to get up in the morning. So I figure I'd go with the old stuff, and I know how the hangover works. Oh, and I just got my alert for it.
Woo! We are live.
We are live on Facebook or on YouTube. Hopefully you're watching. If not, why not?
We do have a bit of an echo. I'm noticing that right now.
Yeah.
Collen, do you have any pair of earbuds?
Me?
Yeah. Okay, that got better.
I have you blasting and beautiful surround sound. You guys sound great on my end. I'm sorry, I'm screwing everyone else.
Yeah, it's coming back like a second and a half later.
Did that help?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Yeah, that's better. Let's see what else is going on. I had a doctor's appointment. Turns out I'm fit as a fiddle.
Woo!
Yeah, that's a lie. Turns out I have an undiagnosed asthma problem, which the years of smoking probably has not helped. But it's okay because in 4 days I'm quitting smoking. Ooh. I say that now. Yes. I will be a complete dickhole to everyone around me. I will want to kill the world, and I don't know how funny I'm going to be. But hey.
So not much is going to change is what you're telling us.
Oh, pretty much. Speaking of stressors that make me want to smoke, my car is going into the shop tomorrow. I don't really have a funny punchline other than I hope it comes out okay. I wish I was the type of dude that would be like, oh, I know how to work on cars. I know what exactly is wrong. And just fix it right there like a fucking grease monkey. But I am not that guy. I spent my teenage years learning how to cook and to draw, which, if you've seen my drawing, you realize that I need to work harder on that. But I'm so in awe of the dudes that work on their own vehicles and can do all the cool things like modify it without breaking it. That's the important thing. Like, I thought about putting on like some beefier tires for my Jeep, and I'm like, I have no idea what I would be doing or how to do that. Like, I would figure I would have to pay somebody to do that for me, and that just seems like a lot of wasted money. So my Jeep stays as it is in pristine condition for a 12-year-old vehicle. So I've been on vacation this week again, which is my third week of vacation, the last week. And I'm starting to get really nervous for school starting up next week. I don't know why. I always do. You'd figure by now I would have it under the bag and just be like, "Oh yeah, this is cool. I can just breeze through and do all that fun stuff that I normally do." And I'm never like that. I'm worried. I am scared. And I have the feeling that I'm just going to fail. So maybe that's a good sign that like I'll actually have to put the work in order to pass. Jason just said, get a job, which, good Lord, Jason, not like I've tried. That's the funny thing. Like, everyone's like talking about like, oh, it's a job seeker's market. It's not. Like, all the jobs that are out there really suck. Like I don't want to be a custodian working barely minimum wage for some fucking school after hours. And besides, if I got an after hours job, who the fuck is going to be on the Drunken Quarantine show? Not me.
Very good point, GW. Or you could just do it from like your janitor closet at the school. We're like, hey guys, I'm just on my hour break, but let me tell you, the Wi-Fi is phenomenal here.
The drinks are a little spotty. The drinks are a little spotty, but and now I'm getting job offers for housekeeping. And no, I'm not driving all the way to Woodstock to work in a fucking hotel for $17 an hour. As much fun as that would be to work with the lovely assistant, I think she would get tired of me and realize I can't make a bed.
Neither can most housekeepers for.
But that's kind of it for my time. Let's turn it over to Colin and see how his week's going.
Hey, how you guys doing? Just like to start by saying congratulations to Texas. Congratulations, boys. You've done it. You've officially brought the largest piece of land in the continental United States back 50 years. Yay! You did it! You did it. You dragged everyone back 50 years and you became way less free in the meantime. I love these Texans that are all about freedom. They love to tell you how free they want to be. Yet they just put in the most aggressive anti-abortion bill in the country, and it's now law. I think it's funny that I have to say how the men in Texas are saying it's my freedom, my right to not have to wear a mask. It's my freedom to not be able to get vaccinated because it's my body, my right. But when it comes to women who need to have an abortion, apparently their rights don't matter anymore. Apparently it's the government tells you what to do with your body. Do you not connect the dots, Texas, you inbred fucking morons? I mean, I cannot fucking understand this. It's like this bill is so extreme that after 6 weeks, a woman's not allowed to get an abortion, or a clinic's not allowed to perform an abortion, even in the case of incest or rape or both. 2 months later, a woman says, I was raped by a family member, I'm pregnant. You're not allowed legally to get that abortion. And the people who are writing this bill say, wow, you got to understand, if incest abortion was legal when I was a kid, I wouldn't have been born. I wouldn't be here. Okay? And it's a damn good thing they were pedophiles too. Otherwise it wouldn't have happened at 14. You know, I don't understand the logic, Texas. You look so fucking dumb right now. It's baffling. And I love the fact that is the people who say they're libertarians, that say that they're these martyrs of freedom. That is, I don't want the government to tell me what to do, but you want the government to tell women what to do. Do you not see the irony in this? And you know that no women had anything to do with what was written. It was all men. And so now that we have the opportunity to identify how we want, I realize I'm on the wrong fucking team, boys. I'm not a straight white man anymore. I'm identifying differently. Okay? You can call me a she. You can call me a they. Don't call me straight white man, because I got no more fucking nothing but shame and disappointment if I just continue down this road. I have nothing left, Texas. You've taken it from me. How can I hold my head high as a white man when there's Texas? I don't know what to do. So that's my rant. And when people ask me why I dislike the Confederacy so much and why I'm a Yankee, and say, "Oh, geez, Collen, you seem like a little bit of a Yankee." You fucking think? You fucking think? Holy sweet mother of God! I keep saying it. If you want to talk about freedom and you think that you're freer than we are in the North, I can carry a loaded concealed weapon to my gay friend's marriage while smoking marijuana. Take that south of the Mason-Dixon line, you fucking pedophiles. So, but this is a comedy show, folks. So, and one that I never like to get political on. So, I just can't stand it. I just can't stand the stupidity in this country. The feelings of victories that are such shallow victories. Football, people like football teams, right? They're willing to fight, getting in all sides of arguments over football. What team's better, their team versus someone else's team? If we behaved like this in all aspects of society, you wouldn't be able to go to the grocery store. You know, you'd show up and some guy would be in the cereal lane going, "Yo-ho! Cocoa Pebbles. Cocoa Puffs, motherfucker." I'm a General Mills guy. Fuck you, both cereal. Have you ever noticed how all baseball commentary, like how baseball announcers seem to be able to go seamlessly from talking about the sports to endorsing like beer companies? I've always found that amazing, you know? They'll be talking, they'll be like, "It's bottom of the ninth. Here we go. Damon's on first. We got a hell of a game. This game's brought to you in part by Bud Light. Stay thirsty." All right, there's a swing and a miss. And I thought, wouldn't it be funnier if I told that joke than the cereal thing, and then said some guy pops out in the store and goes, "Today's cereal battle brought to you in part by Bud Light. Stay drunk. Eat your cereal." Cocoa Pebbles, your official drunk cereal of Bud Light. I don't know if that's true. It's maybe Captain Crunch. Something like that. But that's it. That's my weekend reflection. Fuck Texas. I'm changing my identity or how I identify to something less offensive than men, white man. and you know, fuck football while we're at it. So that's my week.
The plus side, Colin, is since we're Italian, we are no longer white.
That's true. That's true. I heard that. And you know, it's funny because they actually took it from that, you know, no guineas were white enough to then all of a sudden when the sort of talks about, you know, racism. Well, no, now you're white. Now you're white.
Robin DiAngelo said that famous racist who wrote that book about white fragility stated that Italians and Irish have integrated into white culture and are no longer Italian or Irish. They are white. But I think that's changing now. I'm probably sure she's going to put out a second edition. I don't know. I haven't read the racist comment manifesto, but I've seen some parts.
Yeah, it's funny because that book was like a thing, and then it kind of like disappeared when you know, it was kind of funny how they pushed out. The thing is that I think is it's absolutely true that we lose sight of a much larger picture, you know. And the fact is, it's like in New Yorkers, Irish need not apply. And you saw there's still some buildings that actually still have that because they've either been taken over by Irish management and stuff like that they put it in just to basically show, you know, how far they had to come. And the same thing with Italians, where, you know, they call them the Italian steam shovels. Most of New York City was built by Italian labor that they never planned on them returning back to Italy because they knew they were going to die because what they were doing was that dangerous. They make money and they turn and then they die, you know. But I think that a friend asked me recently, you know, what is it possible for someone to, you know, be racist or homophobic or something like this and not have it? But if they keep it to themselves and they don't act upon it, is that a harmful thing, you know? And I started thinking about it, and I was like, you know, it's going to become harmful because over a long enough curvature, it's always going to have an impact, and it's always going to have something that happens. And if someone inherently doesn't like you because of a certain thing, or doesn't like a type of person, then that's eventually going to cost, you know, career opportunity, jobs, employment jobs, hiring jobs, housing situations, various things that it's going to affect because of a prejudice. So even if people think that there's a certain prejudice that people have and that it's benign or it doesn't affect people, it really does. To tie it back with Texas, if it's your religious ideologies one way or another, then that's fine. But the fact that, you know, if you force your religion, your ideology onto everybody, that's no longer, you know, what I would define as freedom. So it's like, it's funny to me that like when people use the word freedom in such a broad stroke, you know, it means different things to different people. And, you know, it's a word that everyone's looking at and a lot of people are talking about on both sides of the aisle of the way that they define freedom. But the one thing I think we can all agree on is the more that the government can dictate what you can say and do and everything like that, you become less and less free. So.
Well said.
I totally tuned out there.
He pulled a Biden. He just slept for the last 15 to 20 minutes.
He checked his watch like 14 times, though.
Did we have that on the list? Biden falling asleep talking to Israel?
No, because it was fake. Yeah. It wasn't true.
Yeah. That was a great power move. There's nothing like talking to something to put a world leader in check. Like while they're trying to talk to you, you just sleep on them.
No, the watch thing almost made it, but there's funner things to talk about than that geriatric old geezer. That's true.
Or in the words of Hickory, fuck Biden.
Which, yeah. I'll transition over to myself. I'm, if you haven't seen, I recorded a verse on a rap track this past week. A rapper by the name of Burden put out a song called Fuck Biden. And he left an open verse, and Hickory strolled in and rapped for the first time in like a decade. And because I'm a magician, I can do whatever the fuck I want. So go check that out if you wanna hear Hickory spit some hard bars about the Taliban. Anyways, we are. I'm gonna try to do this seated. I don't have the actual set up yet, but we're gonna try a card trick from the seated position, and it might be horrendous. But so the basis of the card trick, we got a standard red deck here, but I have this card. Now this card is the special card. I've been thinking about Halloween lately, and I was thinking, like, what if I could get a card that shapeshifted, right? That'd be kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to riffle through G-dubs. You're going to say stop, and we're going to select a couple cards. Ready?
Stop.
Okay, right there?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just going to take these top 3 cards. And so G-dubs,
yeah,
that's going to be you, right? You're the King of Hearts. You're going to remember that one?
Yes.
Wow, I got all face cards. That's crazy. Collen, you're going to be the King of Clubs. You remember that one?
Okay.
He's taking notes. And I am the Jack of Clubs. Because apparently Collen's my dad or something. Because the Jack would be like the son, I guess. I don't know how this works. Anyways, what we're going to do here.
My friend.
We're going to leave those squarely in the middle of the deck. And we're going to take the black card, and I'm going to show you guys something neat here. The shape-shifting ability of the black card. You ready?
Oh.
King of Hearts. G-dubs?
It's me.
Okay. So first, black card shape-shift down. You ready? Number 2. King of Clubs. Is that Mr. Doyle?
That's me.
Okay. And the last shape-shift. Right up here. Right up close. Ready?
Oh, wow.
My prince.
And just to be clear that there wasn't, any other cards on the top of the deck that could have been swapped out for your cards, just to show that black card really did shapeshift. And I'm ready to get into Halloween season. I know it's only early September. I'm ready to drink some goddamn pumpkin beer, watch the leaves change, sleep well at night again, and I don't know, move into the I was going to say holidays. Fuck the holidays. That's way out, but fall's a coming. Anyways, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, this is the jarring part. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Thank you guys for joining me. It's good to have both of you on the program. Just us hosts this evening. We got some topics to get into. I did just want to point out for all the people that have been paying attention and the comments I've gotten. Mr. Potato Head made the move. Don't worry, guys. I know everybody was worried about Potato Head. I certainly was. He still identifies as a Mister. It was a good early show, guys. That was fun.
Yeah.
Right out the bat with abortion jokes. Right off the bat, that was I haven't seen that since I've been to Burlington Comedy.
He really hooked those abortion jokes.
I just like to be clear. I don't ever say make abortion jokes. That was an abortion rant. Okay. I was like, how can I sweeten this up and try to put some humor in this? There's no real way. I mean, in the delusion,
Nope.
It's this diluted formula. It's fuck Texas is how I feel right now.
Speaking of things that people have been saying fuck lately, we're going to right in the first topic of the evening with how the drunk is this news. The Rock has a lookalike who's a sexy cop. And I say fuck that because everybody has been saying fuck the police lately or whatever. But I brought up this article. Dwayne Johnson reacts to viral lookalike police officer. Wow. So to be perfectly clear, this photo on the right here, that is The Rock. This photo on the left. Now, this gentleman is a Morgan County Sheriff's Officer, Lieutenant Fields. Looks just like him, except with a little less steroids, which makes sense because he's a cop. But I pulled up some other photos. I actually went through the Instagram. I did a little bit of research. This was a photo I found, and I swear
It's fake.
This looks totally fake. But the Morgan Sheriff's Office posted it, so I have no reason. It looks very Photoshoppy, though. Like, it looks like they took this outfit. Like they took this in a green screen like, and then just like put the picture over the background. Or it's just a really, really hard filter. I don't know, but there was a couple other ones.
I mean, I'm less concerned about the filter and stuff as I am just his outfit, where it's like, have you ever seen a police officer wear jeans, some John Varvatos boots, a pistol on the out? It looks like he's been crawling through some desert sand, and then he's got the bulletproof vest with the thing. I mean, he looks like he was dressed from the casting of Fast 9. I mean, he's taken on a completely avant-garde police officer uniform.
Yeah, he's kind of got it going on here. I'm not gonna lie. It's
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that he's brought fucking cop back. All right.
This is going to be the look this Halloween.
This is the look, baby. Fucking ditch the blues, ditch the fucking uniform, put on some nice fitted jeans, nice pair of like desert boots, nice fitted tee with the bulletproof vest loaded with all your police shit. You don't need we get it. You're a cop. You don't have to wear the uniform. Go casual. It's COVID.
You should have seen him when The Rock was in wrestling. All he wore was a Speedo.
Oh, those were the days. Yeah, we got this one. This was the original one that people used, and
yeah, looks just like him,
dude. And then the last one I had to pull up was there's another photos being weird. Okay, so this one has multiple pictures because I wanted to make sure we got a photo of this dude without the sunglasses on, because even still in this photo looks exactly like The Rock but with a little less meat on him, right?
All those cops feel cooler because they know him.
It's like the Rock magic's rubbing off.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, it's not The Rock, but it's pretty fucking close. I mean, check it out.
Down here, we got a couple more where he's just, the aviators do it too. You know, it's just
the
like
glass, they're the special, like they're a half round aviator. They are the same glass that he wears. He's nailed that.
Yep, he's just jacked enough, like just barely, like, because it takes a lot of muscle on you to make it have any type of chance of looking like The Rock. He's just got the right amount to look like a young Dwayne Johnson or Rocky Maivia or whatever the hell they were calling him back in WWE.
You know, I'd just like to say to your point, you know, cops take a lot of have taken a big bad rap, you know. And it's like anything, you can focus on the negative, you can focus on the positive. I've had a more positive experience with police in New York than negative. I've had to call the police because there's certain things that you need the police to take care of because you yourself can't handle it or whatever from a business thing, and et cetera, et cetera. And when you're fearing for your life or people are fearing for your life, and you call 911 and you actually get a police officer to respond that diffuses the situation or handles the situation or arrests someone, it's a really great feeling. If you call 911 and Lieutenant Field shows up in Morgan County and you're like worried because this guy's got a knife out and he's trying to be tough with everyone, he's threatening to fucking stab everyone, he's gonna kill everyone, and you call 911, you go, oh my God, there's a crazy guy with a fucking knife. And Lieutenant Field shows up and he steps out and he walks up with his bulletproof vest and just kind of looks and he goes, what's the problem here, boys? This guy trying to stab you? This guy, hey, get your phone out. Hashtag Lieutenant Fields, a.k.a. the fucking power driver, baby. He's like bringing back The Rock's signature moves as he beats this guy's fucking head in. And you're going, that is why I pay Morgan County tax. That's where my tax dollar is. Lieutenant Fields fucking kicking this guy in the fucking head as he tries to rob this woman. That's why I pay those tax dollars. And I gotta say, I am jealous to the people in Morgan County that have been able to watch Lieutenant Fields. Can you what Lieutenant Fields is a cooking?
Burner.
And it's not bacon.
That was actually going to be my next question was, G-Dubs, do you feel like we're getting ripped off paying such high taxes and we don't have any lieutenants that look like this in the state?
Not even
fucking close.
Yeah.
Dude, I need for the amount we pay, we should have a Rock and a John Cena and a Steve Austin cop. Like all three, you know what I mean? Like for the amount of taxes we pay in this damn state.
Not asking too much.
No, not at all.
Well, yeah, I I met so Rutland Town has their own police department,
Yep.
which is different than Rutland City.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah. And I met one of their cops one day, and the dude was shorter than Jess. Like he was like 5'3", and like he could barely see over the steering wheel in the car. I'm like, really? Like you're gonna have to shoot me.
Yeah,
if you're trying to take me down.
He's like, that's my plan. That was my plan.
I watched the beautiful assistant and I were fortunate or unfortunate enough, depending on which way you look at it, to see a man get apprehended outside, actually kind of in the doorways of Walmart. Might have been a year or two ago. But yeah, female officer, 5'3", trying to take down a 5'9" man. And yeah, it was mildly comical to watch.
He works hard for the money.
Where's the 6'5" rock looking guy just fucking lay the rock bottom on him and fucking just smash the linoleum with his spine? Like, that's what I want to see.
I would take a dude that looks like Marky Wahlberg.
No.
Well, it's crazy because what people that they don't get is I've dealt with a lot of tourists and stuff in New York that are very disruptive and try to, go crazy and stuff. And they'll look you in the face and they'll go, what are you going to do, mate? What if I just don't pay? What if I just leave? And you're like, I'm going to call the police. And then the police are going to show up and they're going to kick the ever-living shit out of you. And I'm going to enjoy every glorious moment of that. Because that's what you're going to get, And I just wish there was more Lieutenant Fields for everybody who's like, oh, yeah, what are you going to do? And then like Lieutenant Fields shows up and he's like, heard there was a tough guy. That's great. I also like to fight.
I haven't brought elbow pads. I don't need them, but I brought them.
Yeah.
The beautiful assistant says, we live in Bridgewater. We're lucky if we don't start our own SmackDown soon enough. Referring to the town drama that's going on. We won't get into that, but yep, it's been a minute. Speaking of police forces, moving to the next topic, Chicago is facing a vaccine mandate crisis, and who is next? I don't know if you guys have seen this, that pull this clip up, turn the audio back on. 90 school bus drivers quit over vaccine mandates on Friday this past week. Over 10% of the Chicago police force. We're going to play a clip from Fox 32.
% of drivers quit, with 73 resignations submitted on Friday.
You guys can hear that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Friday alone. Bus companies say this is due to COVID vaccination requirements. The district says the shortage means 2,100 students will not be offered transportation.
Okay, so what we have is a situation where they've mandated vaccines across the board in Chicago. Bus drivers, teachers, and basically anybody that works for the city. We'll get through the end of this clip. I wanted to break it up in case we got copyright claimed up by Fox 32.
To help impacted families, CPS is offering transportation stipends, $1,000 for the first 2 weeks of school and $500 for the following months.
For the record, I want to enroll a student in Chicago public school because I could use $1,000 for the next 2 weeks and then $500 a month.
I could buy my first car was $1,000.
And I get but you got $2,000 because the used car market's going up. I feel like we almost solved the problem.
But you guys are thinking small here. So the problem here is the problem here is that these bus drivers don't want to get a vaccine. While they agree, how many seats are in a bus? I don't know.
70?
70 sounds.
It depends on the bus and the style.
I mean, like a full size Vermont school bus, I felt like was 60 or 70.
It's got to be at least that. So let's say 50 to 60. Okay. So these guys, they don't want to get a vaccine because they don't want the vaccine. But we don't want 60 kids walking through the front door as Chris Farley coughs on them, stealing their sandwiches, right? So you go. Take the first 2 weeks, take the $60,000, tell Chris Farley, the bus driver, will pay $50,000 to get vaccinated. Would that change your mind?
That's a very good point.
And you're back in business in the first, and you're back in business in the first 14 days.
Let's see if there's
statement issued this afternoon reads
Yep. They said we are sad and extremely frustrated by the situation. We express our sincerest apologies to the impacted families for this inconvenience that is caused, especially with such short notice. This isn't really the worst part that Chicago's facing. The hard part that Chicago's facing. So Lightfoot forges ahead with October 15th vaccine mandate for city employees to cite opposition from all 4 police unions. And basically, all 4 police unions of Chicago have threatened to walk out due to vaccine mandates, which would be an interesting time for a city. But yeah,
Chicago,
especially in Chicago. Chicago is rough with cops. I can't imagine what the city would be like. They basically said Mary Lowery Lightfoot on Wednesday forged ahead on October 15th vaccine mandate for all city employees over strenuous and united opposition from all 4 police unions. As cases continue to rise, we must take every step necessary at our disposal to keep everyone in our city safe and healthy, Lightfoot was quoted as saying in a press release. Getting vaccinated, talking points, yes. The press release doesn't say what happens to city employees who refuse to comply, just that the new policy applies to all city employees and volunteers and takes effect October 15th. Employees can apply for medical or religious exemptions. Those requests would be reviewed by the city's Department of Human Resources on a case-by-case basis. So at least they're offering that. But the Fraternal Order of Police President John Catanzara, John, has been at loggerheads with Lightfoot on many issues, but at the time, he's not alone. It ain't just our guys. It's the sergeants, lieutenants, and captains. This is a united front. It's no longer John, Big Mouth. They like to spin it all the time, John said Wednesday. This is literally lit a bomb underneath the membership, and what they're going to do when 4 or 5,000 coppers say, screw you, I'm staying home. You're not making me get this effing vaccination. Don't pay me. That's fine. We'll see you in court. John said he's not threatening a blue flu style protest. He claims the city is literally talking about putting people on no pay status who refuse to get the vaccination. You're not going to pay me. You're not going to make me stay home, but you're going to have thousands of coppers willing to stay home, not getting paid to not get a vaccine. And then what are you going to do for manpower on the streets? He said. He goes into studies and stuff, which I won't read because I don't think YouTube will like that part if I quote it. But Chicago is facing like a serious issue with most of their staffing. And
I think honestly, the cops are just looking for a reason to piss off Lightfoot.
I wouldn't blame them, to be honest.
I mean, not that pissing off that troll-looking woman is hard.
No, they have a lot of reasons to be angry with her. And I don't know. I have a hard time with this because I'm not an anti-vax guy at all. But as soon as you mandate it as part of my employment, I get a little uncomfortable. But
well, the thing is that I think that again, to quiet the conspiracy, is that there are 100,000 people in the United States being hospitalized every day right now, and 1,000 of them are dying every single day. We're losing 7,000 people a week, 700,000 people being hospitalized per week. And it's a total capacity constraint on the healthcare system, which is a shit system, as we all know. The hospitals and this thing, we've tried to build, it's been a fucking joke since day one. We do these pop-up things. We do the pop-up thing, the other thing. There's a lot of people protesting it, medical professionals included, and things like that. But what the reality is that there's only so much of a capacity that the medical system in America can handle. And if anybody has a heart attack or they have a stroke or they have to or they get in a car accident, there are no ICU beds really available basically across the country. And that's a real big problem. If you need ICU and you need to go into intensive care and that's not available, that's a real problem. So what I think is larger places like Chicago, New York, they're much more fragile systems. New York only has 3,000 ICU beds for 22 million people. Vermont,
really?
Here, yeah.
Who's running that shit show?
I mean, everything. You know what I mean? I mean, who's to blame? You know, I mean, it's the insurance companies. It's the
your apparatus is not prepared.
No, not at all. And the thing is, in Vermont, we have 97 ICU beds in Vermont for roughly 700,000 people, plus people who travel here and then they end up getting hurt, whether they slip on a rock fishing and they cut themselves, or they get hit by a motorboat swimming, or any sort of intensive care that's needed to be addressed immediately. It's being taken up by people who are dealing with COVID. And so when you look at the push for the vaccination, it's because we have a very fragile healthcare system in America that really doesn't need much disruption to run far less functioning than it already functions. Right now in Vermont, if you need a major surgery or you need a specialist, it is a 12-month wait for a specialist. 7 days wrote about it this week.
Shit, it's a 9-month wait for my dentist.
Yeah, 9 months to see your dentist. You know what I mean? So it's like you factor in something that is just a wrench in the ball, even if it seems benign to most people. We can't function in this country with it, and that's the real problem, you know. And like even in the case of burying bodies, most hospitals and most small places are not used to dealing with the level of people dying, 1,000 people a day. On top of everything else, it might seem like a small number if you look at it nationally, which it's not, but it's still significant. But it doesn't take much to really disrupt the overall system. So that's really one of the challenges that I think.
No, I'll agree. And I agree that vaccines are good. And I want to be very clear that we make there's no advice on the show. We're not doctors and we're not financial advisors. So just that little plug. But no issues with people getting it, with people deciding what's right for them. But on the flip side, I think it's kind of scary that we're moving into a position where government's going to be able to mandate this thing. Because once you allow government to mandate your medical decisions, like I don't know if you guys saw the article and I didn't pull it up, but there was recently a woman who was stripped of her child in family court because she's not been vaccinated under guidance from her doctor because she's had negative reactions to previous vaccinations. Her doctor said no. The judge said, "Are you vaccinated?" And she said, "No, my doctor said this," and he stripped her of her child and awarded sole custody to the father until she's vaccinated. And I'm like, that's a scary path that we're treading on, because
it is, and
that's a little bit nerve-wracking. The medical exemption thing is the issue for me. Is that gets like New York's vaccine passport does not have an exemption for medical. There's no exemption. Like if you have a medical issue where you cannot be vaccinated, you can't get a goddamn hamburger in New York City anymore. You can't go to a bar. You can't see a movie.
Yep. And not at this point. And you know, and I think that it might be a couple months, but the problem is that same individual may suffer worse consequences if they were exposed to COVID and stuff like that.
No, agreed. But I can take a dog into a grocery store, which makes the question, where's the ADA going to land on this, the American with Disabilities Act? Because it would be considered a disability to be not vaccinated. It's going to be really interesting. There's going to be a lot of interesting lawsuits coming down the pipeline, I think.
There's certainly,
because there's a lot of random weird stuff to be sorted out as far as like what we allow our government to do and what not to do.
I say, fuck it, don't take the shot.
Burn it down, man.
Burn it down. Don't do what they're telling you.
I say, if you don't leave your house, like I don't.
The thing I just feel like though too that the problem is, or a problem, is the vagueness from the top of what the rules are, and then allowing private business to establish their own rules and saying, well, I am mandatory. You have to be vaccinated to come in, or you have to have a mask. These are not seemingly rules. In the case of New York, it was, But like in the case of Vermont, it's like use your own judgment. But then the problem is if someone gets exposed to COVID and they get sick in your establishment, then you, the proprietor of the establishment, is responsible. And so then there's like this legal blowback on the people who have facilitated that. So then all of a sudden it forces people into a position where say, well, you have to be vaccinated to come in, because from an actuarial point of view, it just seems like that would reduce the risk. You know, whether or not someone feels one way or another about it, they're just afraid of a lawsuit. So it's like they've left it very vague, and they've put a lot of pressure on private enterprise to all of a sudden be, you know, in a situation that they didn't agree to without really.
Because like those businesses, those employees, and that's something I've been saying throughout the whole pandemic.
You got people coming up with their own protocol. Why are they doing that? Why is all of a sudden a comedy club saying you have to be vaccinated and you have to wear a mask and then you have to do this and you have to do that? And that's on that venue to come up with that. Does that make any sense?
Well, it's just like they enforce a dress code. You know what I mean? Like, I
guess, yeah.
I don't know. Like, that's where the line is blurry for me. I don't mind if a private business says that, because if the general people disagree with the private business's decision, that shit's going to go out of business.
That's a good point.
When the government says you have to fucking do this or you can't operate, I have an issue with that, because that's overstepping, and we have right to free movement.
No, that's a good point. That's
so there's an issue with that, where the slippery slope of government controlling your decisions is a very, very, very slippery slope.
It is, but then get rid of lawsuits.
Yeah. We're going to move right into the next one, because we've been dragging along on this. Speaking of New York City, this week in New York City, wild puma found in New York City apartment. Colin, what do you think the chances are that this was Matt Fetus? Look at this beautiful cat.
Well, it looks like his place.
I assume he had a tree he took out of his yard in Vermont and brought it back with him, and that's what's laying on the ground there.
Now, what's crazy to me is the only puma I've ever seen in person is a 1994 Arctic Cat puma, and I actually never knew what a puma was. I always imagined it was black, because that's what the snowmobile was.
Yep, this is an 80-pound wild cougar found in a New York City apartment. Was living inside a home in the Bronx, officials say. She was rescued last week in a joint operation by police, the Humane Society of the United States, city officials, and Bronx Zoo personnel. The owner surrendered the big cat and was present during the removal, the group said in a statement. The mountain cat was taken to the Bronx Zoo, where veterinarians examined her over the weekend.
We need to pause for a second, and you need to go back to the second paragraph where the owner surrendered.
Yeah, did it? I was thinking the same thing, JW. Did it become all of a sudden this nostalgic sort of like, don't take my puma? We've become so close since it's been eating my garbage in the back, porch here.
Don't take my big pussy.
I've actually heard some stuff lately about PETA, like forcefully stripping people of animals that they've been taking care of and stuff. I wonder if that was an issue on this. Anyways, the mountain cat was taken from the Bronx Zoo, where veterinarians examined her over the weekend. Sasha was then transported to Turpentine Creek, because that sounds like a safe place to be. Animal sanctuary in Arkansas, which cares for neglected big cats. Scooberger is relatively lucky that her owners recognized a wildcat is not fit to live in an apartment or any domestic environment, said Kelly Donathan, director of Animal Disaster Response for the Humane Society. The owner's tears and nervous chirps from Cougar as we drove her away painfully drives home how many victims of this horrendous trade and myth that wild animals belong anywhere but the wild, she added. Probably while she petted her dog that was bred from wolves and shit.
She Tiger Kinged
it. No one's talking about the cat's perspective, where the cat was like,
yeah, and he was pissed because he was all comfy in that apartment, like, yo, I don't got to do shit. And now they take him to another place, and he gets things stuck up his butt, take his temperature, and he gets touched all over uncomfortably by people he doesn't know. And then all of a sudden he's put in the back of another car, and then he's driven fucking 15 hours away and let go in this place with other pumas that he doesn't know. And he's probably missing his owner.
Something tells me that that wasn't the first time that puma had something in its butt.
And just like most people that leave New York, he's like, man, I really miss the smell of sour milk and the noise at 3 a.m.
And the strange smell of urine.
This cougar, this puma, is gonna go to Arkansas, and on day one, this is a Bronx cat. All right, this is a Bronx cat now. It's gonna go to Arkansas, and it's gonna go, I can't get a BLT at 3 o'clock in the morning. What's going on?
Where's the nearest corner store?
Yeah,
sorry, bodega.
I want my deli coffee with 3 sugars. What is going on, Arkansas? This is terrible. I'm miserable over here. Bring me back to the Bronx. I can't. I love the fact that these people had a cat like this that was 80 pounds, and they go, I don't know if it's fit for a Bronx apartment. Let me tell you something. They brought it to the Bronx Zoo. The Bronx Zoo shouldn't exist. The Bronx does not have enough room for people, let alone room for giraffes, okay? When you go to the Bronx Zoo and you sit there, and it's like in the middle of the Bronx, and you sit there and you think, this is where you brought a cheetah? This is where you think zebras should be? In the middle of the Bronx? No animals should be in the Bronx. No human beings should be in the Bronx. It's like bad enough that people are like, we'll live in the Bronx. We shouldn't bring animals there, especially big animals.
I like the fact
pigeons and rats. So
I like the fact that you can't have an 80-pound cat, but you're gonna have a 110-pound mastiff.
Yeah, right. Like there's a. They also say in the article that NYPD Police Commissioner Dermot Shea said the case was under investigation. No further information was immediately available. Sasha isn't the first big cat or exotic pet to have come to attention of authorities in New York. Police removed a 425-pound adult tiger called Ming. I think that should be named Ming. At 425 pounds, the fact that he can swipe your face off, he deserves some goddamn respect. Police removed a 425 adult tiger man named Ming from an apartment in Harlem in 2003. In 2004, an 8-year-old on Long Island was attacked by his father's pet leopard. Animal rights activists want Congress to pass the Big Cat Public Safety Act, which could strengthen laws prohibiting the breeding and possession of species such as tigers, lions, cheetahs, and jaguars. I just want to remind everybody that anything called with the term Safety Act after it is probably not for your safety. Anyways.
Would I be able to get an ocelot?
What's an ocelot?
It's a small cat.
This is a slippery slope. This is a slippery slope. First, I'm not allowed to have a 300-pound tiger in my penthouse in New York City. What's next? What next right are you taking from me?
I don't know, man. I'm torn. Like this is what I'm torn on. I want to see people breed tigers into a little fucking awesome house cat.
I would
like
love
one
to see
that
that
still
too.
hunts mice. That's what I want. It's not a damn cat. It's not a barn cat. It still hunts mice. That's really all.
A tiger can grow to be 900 pounds.
And they lose imprinting as soon as they're adults, right? Is the deal. Often they kill their own mother.
If we could somehow figure out a way of training the tiger, a 900-pound feline, it would be gnarly.
Dude, with a crane and with robot arms now, like we can, I think we can do it.
Why can we not train the tiger? It's like sharks with laser beams. I want to attack tigers. 900 pounds. They've got razors for claws. And let me tell you something. You think a pit bull is difficult to deal with? Try a Siberian 900-pound tiger, my friend. You are fucked. You are fucked.
Again,
I'm not a doctor. Again, that's not.
Say, GW's, you got anything before we move into the next one?
It reminds me of the gangs in Africa that will capture and breed hyenas to use those as like status symbols. Have you seen pictures of that? Like they're walking around these giant, massive hyenas on chains and shit because it's gangster.
Well, I mean, I guess
pretty gangster.
It's kind of like when we met when man met wolf forever ago when we made dogs. Like it's kind of just their own culture's version, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, from one weird collection to another, we're moving right into a World War II tank found in an old man's basement. I was really excited about this story until I realized it was in Germany and not near me. But an 84-year-old man fined $293,000 for possessing a German World War II tank that he kept in his basement. Look at that bad bitch, guys. Say the World War II era Panther battle tank being made ready for transportation from an 84-year-old's property in Heikendorf, Germany. How is that easier pronounced than that cop's last name? I don't know. It's magic. This was on July 2nd, 2015. I don't know why this article is going around August 7th of 2021, but apparently this was 6 years ago. But an 84-year-old man from Germany was convicted of illegal weapons possession. In 2015, an investigation found a World War II Panther tank in his basement as well as a hoard of ammunition. The stash of weaponry took the Army 9 hours to remove. And he also had a bunch of other things. But what do you guys think? You think this is more common than we realize?
It depends if you're in Montana or not. It seems like a Montana militia thing.
Like one of those guys just has a tank just underneath his house that he managed to. I don't know. It makes me wonder. It makes me wonder that like you wouldn't have these things in America necessarily because how it's one thing to sneak back like a handgun or like a officer's medal or something, but to like import a tank back into the States would be an issue. But like we'd have to lose a war on our own ground, right? For somebody to snag a tank.
Well, it's crazy actually. There's a large amount of privately owned tanks in America.
That's true. I actually telling GW about the guy who got stuck on the bridge in Bridgewater years ago.
Yeah,
if you knew about that.
Surprising. But if it was me and I was this guy and they came in, they said, "Listen, why do you have a tank in your basement?" I would go, "What do you mean, officer? There's a tank in the basement? I never knew that."
I just moved here.
Yes, I just bought the place and I never go down there. And there's an armory, you say? I would just play ignorant to the entire thing. So there's a tank in my basement, you don't say. Since when? Oh, since 1942. It must have been there. I don't know.
I would have been like, isn't this America? Come on.
They also say there was a hoard of Nazi memorabilia, including a bust of Hitler, mannequins in Nazi uniforms, swastika pendants, SS rune-shaped lamps, a statue of a naked warrior holding a sword, and his extended hand that once stood outside Hitler's chancellor in Berlin by the dictator's favorite sculptor Arno Breker, reported War History Online. So I'm almost wondering
paraphernalia.
I'm almost wondering in Germany, is that more illegal than the tank itself? Like, is that the unreported part of the story? Is the fact that like he's really fucked for having all this Nazi paraphernalia?
All I gotta say is you better hope that the day that the cop shows up to look at that stuff, you better hope he's not Jewish.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things, man, where I'm like, I was actually talking to GB in the pre-show where I'm like, I understand why people collect historical pieces and you have to collect some bad things so you remember those too. But especially like, I know Americans that have World War II memorabilia like that. But yeah, I don't know. It sounded like he had a little too much.
Yeah, they're called neo-Nazis.
Yeah, it sounded like a shrine. And it sounded like he looked at the tank. It's like, yes, this is the tank.
In fairness, GW, I do have a friend whose dad, his grandfather might have killed some Nazis and then taken their pendants. So no, he's not a neo-Nazi. He was the guy, putting bullets through them. But
he's a Green Mountain Nazi killer. All right.
Yeah.
And if that was the scalp they took, hey, it's a beautiful thing.
Yep. Anyways, moving right into the last one, unless you guys got anything to address anymore on that. We move right into some man in London was doing what? Well, he should have been watching last week's episode. Now, I'd like to think this was a feel-good story, but I'm afraid it's not. Unfortunately, a man in London arrested on suspicion of injecting food at stores with needles. Fortunately, this is London, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry about the issues going on here. Police in London arrested a man they say was injecting food at several grocery stores with needles on Wednesday night. Metropolitan Police were called to the West London area of Hammersmith and Fulham. However, it doesn't matter. It's London. Fuck the British. After getting reports of a man shouting at people in the street, according to a statement from the department, authorities were told that the man, who has not been identified, had gone into Little Waitrose, Sandbury's Local, and Texco Express and injected foodstuffs with a number of needles. So, dude's just walking into a convenience store injecting random shit with needles. Now,
well, what they're not telling you is that it was actually the coronavirus extract. He was trying to make it so people would build up an immunity to COVID.
There we go. It was like vaccinating people against their knowledge.
Yeah.
And God bless him for it.
Yeah, not a bad dude, I must say.
It's like when you're a kid and your parents make you go on to a sleepover with the kid with chicken pox.
Oh man, that hit a little close to home. When you get back and your mom's checking you everywhere, she's like, "God damn it, he doesn't have any spots yet."
Here's a little fun anti-vax for you. I've never had chicken pox. Never got it as a kid. Never had the shot. If I get it now, it could kill me. But there's a shot.
Yep. MMR, right? It would be measles if you got it now, and it could very well kill you.
Shingles.
It could kill me.
Oh, yeah, shingles, not measles, whatever. And mumps. Who has died from measles, mumps, or rubella in the past 100 years?
Might be me if I don't get my shot.
That's true.
That's what they tell me.
True.
I actually got shingles, and I never had chicken pox growing up.
I got shingles too, G-dubs, but they came with my new house.
Mine didn't come with the house.
I also got my 2 shots. I had them right before the show. But that was a vaccine joke. Sorry.
Oh!
I can't help it. I'm on fire. But there's plenty of room on the card. I'll be having my 3rd and 4th shot later.
Hickory's like 2 shots, Johnson & Johnson, right in the ass. I told him double it up. All right.
That's right. No, you get Johnson & Johnson in one and Moderna in the other. And then you're like, they're like Pokemon, dude. You got to catch them all.
It's a cocktail.
Yeah, this is not medical advice. Please, YouTube, don't hate us.
Well, there's the thing. You got Delta here, you got this there. So I would do Pfizer JJ, Moderna JJ. Use both butt cheeks. You got 2 of them.
And how many we have 5, because I heard the booster might be every 5 months, but if you got 5, you could have them on like a 1-month rotation, and then you'd be like super protected. I don't know if that's how medicine works.
I think we only have 3 right now.
Well, there's a couple European ones too, right?
Yeah, well, those frogs don't count.
That's true. Yeah, we got Moderna, J&J, and Pfizer.
Yeah.
And then Pfizer just got approved and is now called Corminity or something like that. It's a combination of the words COVID with immunity and mRNA. It's Corminity, I think. But
someone got paid $80,000 to think of that word.
Yeah, right. But it's not available yet, from what I understand. So there's a weird issue, and I don't want to get too deep into the law on it. There's a weird issue where there's an EUA vaccine That's the exact same formulation as the one that's been FDA approved. But in order to legally be the FDA approved one, it has to be in the in a bottle with the label. You know what I mean? Otherwise,
we all look at the label.
Well, it's a liability thing. So under an EUA, there was no liability because Trump said, "Hey, you guys just do whatever you do, and if anybody dies from this thing, you're cool." Now that it's FDA approved, there's liability for the company. So, which is good for all those people that are hesitant out there, and
something more to get hesitant about.
Yeah. That way, if there is any issue with them, they have at least some type of response from the manufacturer. Who knows? I don't know if that matters to people.
What were we talking about?
We'll find out.
Yeah, some dude injecting food.
Yeah, but he was injecting it with Corminity, which is not available yet on the. But maybe if you go down to the streets of London, yeah,
$5 says it was heroin or ketamine,
which would raise the question, G-Dubs, who the hell is spending money on heroin and for other people?
Bloody needles or bloody needles?
Especially now, considering, the Taliban hasn't even had a chance to go into production yet. It's not like heroin's super cheap over there right now. It's a more fentanyl market from what I hear. I don't know.
Just what I hear through grapevine.
Yeah, that's the chatter online.
It's all hearsay.
All hearsay. That's pretty much all I got. You guys got anything you want to get off your chest before we get on out of here?
I'd just like to say that thank you for everyone who came out this past Saturday night to the Woolen Comedy Club. It was a great show. Thank you, G-Dub. Great set. It was a very fun night for all that were there. And thank you guys for tuning in. Headline show October 16th. I know that's a little far out, but
Nice.
Next headline show at the club October 16th, and I'm sure we'll be doing something this month, so please stay tuned on the Facebook page for an upcoming event, and we'll see you guys all at the club soon.
As a side note, I no longer control my Facebook page, so for anybody, yeah, that's gone. And Facebook's not so awesome at responding or doing customer service at all. So, yeah, go report that. File them a copyright claim and tell them that they've been stealing my content, even though I posted it and somebody else stole it. Because I'd like to get that taken down so I can have it Hickory TDA you back. Thank you. G-Dubs?
Yes,
Foley Kills the Podcast. Episode 17 just dropped on Monday.
Woo!
It's called My Tripod Broke.
And his tripod did break, ladies and gentlemen. I assure you he is not false advertising with his title.
I would never do such a thing. I would not do clickbait titles like that.
No, it's kind of sad. Were you able to repair it?
I have to get a part that's coming in. It should be there by Sunday. So
okay, that's good.
Hopefully Monday I will get it fixed and taken care of.
And like most Vermonters, GW's part is called Gorilla Tape. For those, he just had a hard time getting the right color to match his tripod, so he had to order it. It's a charcoal gray. It should go. Anyways.
Blend.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. I am, of course, Hickory the Drunk Underwhelming. This has been a blast. G-Dubs, thank you for being here, brother. I love you. Collen, thank you for being here. Guys, I'm sorry I missed the show last week. It's been a crazy shit show. And as you can see, the space will be getting more set up, and I will start. I'll be ready to do the next show, assuming it's not like this weekend. So, yeah, we'll be set up, and we're getting ready. And, yeah, that's all I got. So thank you guys for joining us. This has been the Drunken Under Quarantine Show, episode 18. We will be having a guest next week. Hopefully, I'm waiting for confirmation on that, and then should be smooth sailing on that. But we're presented by Woolen Comedy Club in scenic Bridgewater, Vermont. Come check out shows there. It's super fun. And please follow GW at Foley Kills. Add him as a friend on Facebook. He'd love to add you. You can find Collen at Woolen Comedy Club and at Collen D on Instagram, Facebook, etc. You can find me not on Facebook because some jackass stole my page, but you can also find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Parler, And I'm at 197. Was it 197? I gotta check. Yeah, I'm at 197 subscribers on YouTube. So please go over there, follow my content. I do a lot of ridiculous shit, including reactions, reviews. I even rapped this past week in a song entitled F Biden, because that was fun. And
I heard it.
It was 16 really fast bars. It's totally worth a listen to. Anyways, that's all I got. We'll see you guys next week. I am Hickory the Drunk and Underwhelming, imploring you all to stay safe, stay drunk, stay underwhelming. Most importantly, in these trying times, stay sane, and don't steal other people's Facebook pages, dude. That's a dick move, especially if you're just going to live stream League of Legends on it and in Spanish. So fuck that guy. Anyways, cheers.
And so I didn't get a chance to take my pants off.